is real, is the real author of his work. We're here to say that he is, because me and my partner agree that William Shakespeare is of the following. The name William Shakespeare appears on all plays, poems, and sonnets. Good evidence that William Shakespeare wrote his plays and poems bearing his name, the fact that his name appears. In 1593, the narrative poem Venus and Adonis was published by Stanford native and Richard Field with a dedication to Earl of Southampton signed William Shakespeare. This dedication refers to the author's unpolished lines. Basically means that they dedicated the plays to William Shakespeare that they published. B. In 1601, the volume Love's Martyr by Robert Chester contains short poems by several known theatrical poets. One of these poems, untitled in the volume, but now is known as The Phoenix and the Turtle, signed by William Shakespeare. The volume was printed by Richard Field, who also printed Shakespeare's two native poems. C. In 1906, the volume Shakespeare Sonnets was published by Thomas Thoreau. Whether one believes that the publication was authorized or not, the volume is clearly attributed to Shakespeare. And D. Many of the plays were attributed and printed written by Shakespeare, following the lists of plays. Titus and is that weird? Titus Andronicus, Henry VI, Part 2, and Henry VI, Part 3. Romeo and Juliet, Richard II, and Richard III. And following by Hamlet. Second point of case. William Shakespeare was not an actor. What? Contention 2, my bad. William Shakespeare was an actor of the company which performed by the plays of William Shakespeare. From 1594, the plays of William Shakespeare were performed exclusively by the acting company variously known as Lord Chamberlain's Men, Lord Hampton's Men of 1596, and the King's Men of 1603. William Shakespeare was a prominent member of the acting company, which was following evidence that demonstrates. A. On 15th March 1595, the treasurer of the Queen's Chamber paid William Kemp and William Shakespeare and Richard Durbage, servants to a Lord Chamberlain, for performance at court in Greenwich on the 26th and the 27th of December of the previous year. On 13th of March 1602, John Manningham is the Middle Temple recorded on his diary of racy anecdote about Richard Burge and William Shakespeare. Upon the time Burge played Richard III, there was citizens grew as far as liking with him. C. On 19 May 1603, the Lord Chamberlain men were licensed as the King's Men. The document listed Lawrence Filcher, William Shakespeare, Richard Burge, Augustine Phillips, and John Hennings. Shakespeare's prominence is indicated by the fact that he appeared second on the list behind Lawrence Fletcher, which acted for the King James in Scotland, and who was the King's favorite actor, which was William Shakespeare. What was it again? The third what? The third contention is the 1616 folio of Ben Jonson's works contained the list of his plays. Casting for Jonson's Every Man in His Humor, performed in 1959, including William Shakespeare, August Phillips, Hen Condell, Will Sly, Will Kemp, and Richard Barge, I.O. Hemmings, though though Pope Cherubinstein and Io Duke, once again, Shakespeare is listed first among all the following. The 3A, the cast following Johnson's Sejanus performance in 1603 included Rick Burge, Phillips, Will Lone, William Shakespeare, Io Hemmings, Condell, and Alex Cook. So William Shakespeare is an actor of this company, performed the plays written under his name. But was this the same William Shakespeare? Yes, of course it is. We have documentary evidence of this. The fourth. What is it again? The fourth what? Contention. The fourth contention. You can't. The fourth contention. William Shakespeare in the Globe Share was also William Shakespeare, a Stanford upon Avon. William Shakespeare, a Stanford actor, was a entitled independent gentleman after his name, and rights been granted to coat of arms. B. A mortgage of the deed of trust dated 7 October 1601 by Nicholas Brandt and John Bradley. Okay, indeed, the trust dated on 16 October 1601, Nicholas Brandt and John Bradley legally tying the control upon Broadly in the Globe Theater. Again, the theater is described as being tenanted by Richard Burge and William Shakespeare's gentlemen. So, indeed, William Shakespeare was and also is real. Done.
Today we are going to be talking about William Shakespeare and Edward de Vere. Edward de Vere is a writer at the same time period as William Shakespeare, and we think that William Shakespeare is fake and Edward de Vere is the real writer of all plays that were written. My partner and I say no, we believe that William Shakespeare is not the true author of the works in literature. We stand resolved that the works of William Shakespeare should be attributed to Edward de Vere. At this time, we would like to share the following information. Contention 1. It is recognized by the Oxfordians and the Staffordians alike that writing about royal courts, Italy, and law required a certain level of education. Edward de Vere fits the bill here since he is known to have graduated from Cambridge University at age 14, becoming Master of Arts at age 16. Furthermore, in views of plays like The Merchant of Venice, which discussed law, de Vere studied law at Gray's Inn. Account books clearly showed that Edward de Vere had an extensive library underlining his qualifications to write knowledgeably as Shakespeare. To further prove that Edward de Vere was qualified to write, said, and subscribe to Shakespeare, Edward de Vere is known to have traveled to Italy in 1570s, putting him in an ideal position to write knowledgeably about Venice. Contention 3. Underlining this argument is the fact that Venice and the Donnas derived from Ovid's could only have been possible with Arthur Golding's translation of this work. Arthur Golding was Edward de Vere's uncle, and his translation was said to be dedicated to Edward de Vere. At court, contention 4. At court, Edward de Vere was nicknamed Spear Shaker due to his ability to both tournaments and because his coat of arms featured a lion brandishing a spear. Perhaps Edward de Vere lived in the same area as Shakespeare. His Belton Hall home